The name's Cyrus Kade, freelance investigative reporter. I've seen my fair share of strange cases in Minneapolis, but nothing quite like this. It was a cold December night when I first heard about Donna Ingersoll, a 25-year-old woman who vanished into thin air back in 1990. 34 years later, and the case still haunts the small town of Wabasha, Minnesota. I'd been digging through old case files when my phone rang. It was an old contact from the Wabasha County Sheriff's Office.
Kade, we've got some new leads on the Ingersoll case. Thought you might be interested.
My interest was piqued. I'd always had a nose for the unusual, and this case reeked of it. I grabbed my coat and headed out into the frigid Minnesota night. As I drove down the dark, winding roads towards Wabasha, my mind raced with possibilities. What could have happened to Donna Ingersoll on that fateful night in 1990? And why, after all these years, were the authorities suddenly optimistic about solving the case? I pulled up to the Wabasha County Sheriff's Office, a small, unassuming building that held the key to this decades-old mystery. Deputy Jim Warren greeted me at the door, his face a mask of grim determination.
Thanks for coming, Kade. We've got something you need to see.
Warren led me to a small conference room, its walls covered in photos and timelines. At the center of it all was a smiling photo of Donna Ingersoll, her blonde hair and green eyes frozen in time.
We've reopened the case, Kade. New evidence has come to light that changes everything we thought we knew about that night.
I leaned in, my reporter's instincts on high alert. What could have possibly surfaced after all these years?
We've received an anonymous tip. Someone claims to have seen Donna alive recently.
My eyebrows shot up. If this was true, it would turn the entire case on its head. Tell me everything, I said, pulling out my notepad. As Warren filled me in on the details, a chill ran down my spine. This wasn't just a simple missing persons case anymore. It was something far more sinister.
The tipster claims to have seen Donna at a gas station just outside of town. Said she looked different. Older, of course, but there was something else, something off.
I scribbled furiously, my mind racing. If Donna was alive, where had she been all these years? And why hadn't she come forward? I need to see the scene of her disappearance, I said, standing up. Warren nodded, grabbing his keys. As we drove through the quiet streets of Wabasha, Warren filled me in on the night Donna vanished.
It was December 16, 1990. Donna had been at a party with her boyfriend, Gary Murphy, and 3 others. There was an argument, and witnesses say Donna ran out the back door around 11:45 p.m. She was never seen again.
We pulled up to a small, unassuming house, the place where Donna Ingersoll was last seen over 3 decades ago. As we approached the back door, a gust of wind howled through the trees, sending a shiver down my spine. I couldn't help but imagine Donna running out into the cold Minnesota night, never to return.
The temperature that night was well below freezing. Donna didn't have a coat, her glasses, or any money. It never made sense that she'd just run off.
I nodded, taking in the scene. Something didn't add up. What about the boyfriend? Gary Murphy, right?
He was distraught after Donna's disappearance, checked himself into a treatment center for 2 months. Then, he took his own life in the summer of '91.
My journalistic instincts were screaming. There was more to this story than met the eye. I need to talk to the other people who were here that night, I said. Warren hesitated, then nodded.
I can arrange that, but Kade, be careful. This case has a way of getting under your skin.
Little did I know just how right he was. The next day, I found myself sitting across from Sarah Thompson, one of the 3 other people present the night Donna disappeared.
I've tried to forget that night for so long, but it haunts me, The way Donna looked when she ran out, it wasn't just anger, it was fear.
I leaned forward, my interest piqued. Fear? What do you mean?
It's hard to explain, but right before she left, she looked at something behind us. Her eyes went wide and she just bolted.
A chill ran down my spine. What had Donna seen? Did you see anything unusual that night? Anything at all? Sarah hesitated, her eyes darting around the room.
I'm not sure. Sometimes when I think back, I remember a shadow, something that shouldn't have been there, but it's probably just my imagination playing tricks on me after all these years.
I jotted down her words, a sense of unease growing in the pit of my stomach. This case was getting stranger by the minute. As I left Sarah's house, my phone buzzed. It was Warren.
Cade, we've got another lead. Meet me at the old abandoned factory on the edge of town. And hurry.
I jumped in my car and sped towards the outskirts of Wabasha. The sun was setting, casting long shadows across the landscape. As I approached the factory, its dilapidated form loomed against the darkening sky. Warren was waiting for me, his face pale in the fading light.
We got another anonymous tip. Someone claims they saw Donna enter this factory just an hour ago.
My heart raced. Could this be it? The break we'd been waiting for? We approached the rusted doors of the factory, flashlights in hand. The metal groaned as we pushed them open, revealing a cavernous space filled with shadows and decay. Our footsteps echoed as we moved deeper into the building. The air was thick with dust and the musty smell of abandonment. Suddenly, a noise from above made us both jump. "Did you hear that?" I whispered. Warren nodded, his hand on his holster. We made our way up a rickety staircase, each step creaking under our weight. At the top, a long hallway stretched before us, lined with doors.
You take the left, I'll take the right.
I nodded, my heart pounding in my chest. I began checking the rooms one by one, my flashlight beam cutting through the darkness. Empty, empty, empty. Then, as I reached for the handle of the last door, I heard it, a soft whimper from inside. My hand trembled as I turned the knob. The door swung open with a creak, revealing a small, dimly lit room. And there, huddled in the corner, was a woman. "Donna?" I called out softly. The figure stirred, slowly raising her head. As the light fell on her face, I gasped. It was Donna Ingersoll, but something was terribly wrong. Her face, once youthful and vibrant in the photos I'd seen, was now gaunt and pale. Her eyes, sunken into her skull, held a haunted look that sent chills down my spine.
You shouldn't be here. None of us should be here.
I took a step closer, my mind reeling. "Donna, what happened to you? Where have you been all these years?" She shook her head violently, pressing herself further into the corner.
No, you don't understand. They'll find you. They'll find us all.
Before I could ask who they were, a blood-curdling scream echoed through the building. "Warren!" I turned to run towards the sound, but Donna's hand shot out, grabbing my arm with surprising strength.
Don't. It's too late for him. It's too late for all of us.
I hesitated, torn between helping Warren and staying with Donna. But the decision was made for me as heavy footsteps echoed down the hallway. Donna's eyes widened in terror.
They're here?
The footsteps grew louder, accompanied by a low, guttural growl that was decidedly inhuman. I backed into the room, closing the door as quietly as I could. "Donna?" I whispered urgently. "What's going on? Who are they?" She looked at me, her eyes filled with a mixture of fear and resignation.
They're the reason I disappeared. The reason I can never go home.
As she spoke, the temperature in the room seemed to drop. My breath came out in visible puffs and a bone-deep chill settled over me.
I saw something that night. Something I wasn't supposed to see. And they've been hunting me ever since.
The footsteps stopped right outside our door. My heart pounded so loudly I was sure it would give us away. Slowly, agonizingly, the door handle began to turn. What I saw in that moment defied all logic and reason. It was a creature of nightmare, its form shifting and writhing as if it couldn't decide what shape to take. I opened my mouth to scream, but no sound came out. Donna's hand found mine in the darkness, her grip ice cold.
Welcome to my world, Mr. Cade. A world of endless night and eternal stalking.
As the creature lunged towards us, I realized with horror that this was just the beginning of a nightmare that had been 34 years in the making. The world went black. When I came to, I found myself in a hospital bed, Deputy Warren standing over me with a concerned look on his face.
Katie, thank God you're awake. We found you passed out in that old factory. What happened in there?
I blinked, my head pounding. The memories of what I'd seen came flooding back, but they seemed hazy, dreamlike. I'm not sure, I stammered. Where's Donna? Did you find her? Warren's brow furrowed in confusion.
Donna? Cade, we searched that entire building. There was no sign of Donna Ingersoll or anyone else.
I sat up, ignoring the pain that shot through my body. But I saw her. She was there, Warren, and there was something else. Something. I trailed off, the memory slipping away like sand through my fingers. Warren placed a hand on my shoulder, his expression a mixture of concern and skepticism.
You've been through a lot, Cade. Maybe it's best if you take some time to rest.
But I couldn't rest. Not now. Not when I knew there was more to this story than met the eye. As Warren left the room, I noticed something on the bedside table. It was my notebook, open to a page I didn't remember writing. In shaky handwriting that barely looked like my own, were the words, "The night is never ending, the stalking is eternal." A chill ran down my spine as I realized this case was far from over. In fact, it might have just begun. Over the next few days, I threw myself into the investigation with renewed vigor. The incident at the factory had left me shaken, but more determined than ever to uncover the truth about Donna Ingersoll's disappearance. I pored over old newspaper articles, police reports, and witness statements. Something nagged at the back of my mind, a detail I felt I was missing. Then, late one night, as I was about to call it quits, I saw it. A small note in the margin of one of the original police reports. Witness reported strange lights in the sky night of disappearance. Disregarded as irrelevant. My heart raced. Could there be a connection? I picked up my phone and dialed Sarah Thompson's number.
Hello?
Sarah, it's Cyrus Kade. I'm sorry to call so late, but I need to ask you something. The night Donna disappeared, did you see any strange lights in the sky? There was a long pause on the other end of the line.
How did you know about that?
My grip tightened on the phone. What did you see, Sarah?
I've never told anyone this. We all agreed not to mention it. We thought people would think we were crazy.
Tell me now, I urged.
Right before Donna ran out, there was this bright light outside. It lit up the whole room. And then we heard this sound, like nothing I've ever heard before or since. It was unearthly.
I scribbled furiously in my notebook, my mind racing. What happened next?
Donna, she looked terrified. She ran to the window, and then that's when she bolted out the door. We tried to follow her, but by the time we got outside, she was gone. And so was the light.
I thanked Sarah and hung up, my head spinning with this new information. What if Donna's disappearance wasn't just a simple missing persons case? What if there was something extraterrestrial involved? The next morning, I headed back to the Wabasha County Sheriff's Office. I needed to see if there were any other reports of strange lights or unexplained phenomena from that night. As I walked into the office, I was met with a flurry of activity. Deputies were rushing around, phones were ringing off the hook. I spotted Warren and made my way over to him. "What's going on?" I asked.
We've had multiple reports of strange lights in the sky over the past 24 hours, and there's been another disappearance.
My blood ran cold. Who?
A young woman, about Donna's age, last seen running out of her house in the middle of the night. Her family said she was screaming about them coming to get her.
I showed Warren my notes about the lights from the night Donna disappeared. His face paled.
Ked, what have you gotten us into?
I shook my head, a sense of dread settling over me. I don't know, Warren, but I think we're about to find out. As night fell, an eerie calm settled over Wabasha. The streets were deserted, an unnatural silence blanketing the town. I couldn't shake the feeling that we were on the precipice of something monumental. Warren and I sat in his patrol car, parked on a hill overlooking the town. Our eyes scanned the sky, searching for any sign of the mysterious lights.
You really think this has something to do with aliens?
I sighed, running a hand through my hair. I don't know what to think anymore, Warren, but I know what I saw in that factory, and I know it wasn't human. Suddenly, Warren's radio crackled to life.
All units, we have reports of strange lights over the old Ingersoll property. Proceed with caution.
Warren and I exchanged a look. The Ingersoll property, where Donna had lived before her disappearance. Let's go, I said. As we sped towards the Ingersoll property, the sky above us lit up with an otherworldly glow. Brilliant beams of light danced across the clouds, casting long shadows on the ground below. We pulled up to the old farmhouse, its weathered exterior looming ominously in the strange light. As we stepped out of the car, a high-pitched whine filled the air, causing us both to wince.
My God.
I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Hovering above the farmhouse was a massive disc-shaped object. It pulsed with an inner light, casting everything in an eerie blue glow. As we watched, transfixed, a beam of light shot down from the craft, illuminating the front porch of the house. And there, standing in the light, was Donna Ingersoll. She looked just as she had in the factory, gaunt, pale, and terrified. But this time, she wasn't alone. Standing beside her was the young woman who had disappeared the night before. I took a step forward, my journalistic instincts overriding my fear. "Donna," I called out. She turned towards me, her eyes wide with recognition, and was that relief?
Mr. Kade, you shouldn't have come back. It's not safe.
"What's going on, Donna? What are these things?"
They're not from here, Mr. Kade. They've been watching us, studying us, and sometimes they take us.
As she spoke, more figures began to materialize on the porch. Men and women of various ages, all with the same haunted look in their eyes. With a jolt, I realized these must be other missing persons. People who had vanished without a trace over the years.
This is impossible.
Before I could respond, the whining sound intensified. The beam of light began to pulse, and Donna and the others started to rise off the ground. "No!" I shouted, running towards them. But it was too late. In a flash of blinding light, they were gone, drawn up into the craft hovering above. The UFO began to move, slowly at first, then with increasing speed. Within seconds, it had vanished into the night sky, leaving Warren and me standing alone in the sudden darkness. For a long moment, we stood in stunned silence, trying to process what we had just witnessed.
Kade, what do we do now?
I turned to him, my mind racing with the implications of what we'd seen. "We tell the truth, Warren. We tell everyone what's really been happening in Wabasha all these years." As dawn broke over the town, news vans and government vehicles began to arrive. The story of the mass abduction in Wabasha was about to break, and I was right in the middle of it. But as I prepared to give my statement to the press, a nagging doubt gnawed at the back of my mind. What if this was just the beginning? What if the beings who took Donna and the others came back? And most chillingly of all, what if they came for me next? I took a deep breath and stepped up to the microphones. It was time to tell the world about the night stalkers from beyond the stars. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, my name is Cyrus Kade. What I'm about to tell you will challenge everything you thought you knew about our world and our place in the universe. As I recounted the events of the past few days, I could see the disbelief on the faces of the reporters. But I also saw something else, a growing fear as they realized the implications of what I was saying. I told them about Donna Ingersoll's disappearance in 1990, the strange lights in the sky, and the creature I encountered in the abandoned factory. I described the mass abduction we had witnessed just hours ago. We are not alone in this universe, I concluded, and we are being watched, studied, and sometimes taken. The crowd erupted into chaos, shouting questions and demanding more information. But before I could answer, a black SUV pulled up, and men in dark suits emerged. One of them approached me, flashing a badge.
"Mr. Kade, I'm Agent Smith with the FBI. We need you to come with us."
I hesitated, looking at Warren. He nodded grimly, indicating I should go. As I was led to the SUV, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being drawn deeper into a mystery that was far bigger than I had ever imagined. The drive was long and silent. We left Wabasha behind, traveling down dark country roads. Finally, we arrived at a nondescript building in the middle of nowhere. Inside, I was led to a small, windowless room. Agent Smith sat across from me, his face unreadable.
"Mr. Kade, we need you to tell us everything you know about these visitors."
I took a deep breath and began to recount my story once again. As I spoke, I noticed something strange. Agent Smith didn't seem surprised by anything I was saying. In fact, he seemed to be expecting it. "You already knew about this, didn't you?" I asked, realization dawning. Agent Smith's expression didn't change, but there was a flicker of something in his eyes.
"Mr. Kade, what I'm about to tell you is classified at the highest levels. The phenomenon you've encountered in Wabasha is not new. We've been tracking these visitors for decades."
My mind reeled with the implications. Why? Why are they taking people?
"We don't know for certain, but we have theories. Some believe they're conducting long-term experiments on human subjects. Others think they're harvesting something from us."
A chill ran down my spine at his words. "What do you mean, harvesting?" Agent Smith leaned forward, his voice dropping to a whisper.
"There's something special about human consciousness, Mr. Kade. Something unique in the universe. We think that's what they're after."
I sat back, stunned. This was bigger than anything I could have imagined. "What happens now?" I asked.
"Now, Mr. Kade, you have a choice to make. You can forget everything you've seen and heard, Go back to your life, and we'll make sure you're never bothered by this again. Or
I prompted.
Or you can join us, help us understand these visitors, and maybe, just maybe, find a way to stop them.
I didn't hesitate. I'm in. And just like that, my life as I knew it was over. I was about to embark on a journey into the unknown, chasing beings from beyond the stars. But as I followed Agent Smith out of the room, a thought struck me. What if this was all part of their plan? What if, by investigating them, we were playing right into their hands? I pushed the thought aside. Whatever the truth was, I was determined to uncover it. For Donna, for all the others who had been taken, and for the future of humanity itself. As we stepped outside, I looked up at the night sky. The stars twinkled innocently, but I knew better now. Out there, in the vast expanse of space, something was watching us, studying us, stalking us. And I, Cyrus Kade, was going to find out why. Little did I know, this was just the beginning of a journey that would take me to the darkest corners of our world and beyond. A journey that would challenge everything I thought I knew about reality itself. In the months that followed, I worked closely with Agent Smith and a covert team of scientists, researchers, and other experiencers. People who had encountered the visitors and lived to tell the tale. We pored over countless reports of abductions, analyzed patterns in UFO sightings, and even studied ancient texts for clues about extraterrestrial contact throughout human history. But the more we learned, the more questions we had. And the deeper we dug, the more dangerous our work became. One night, as I was reviewing some files in my new apartment, a secure location provided by the agency, I heard a strange noise outside my window. I froze, my heart pounding in my chest. Slowly, I turned towards the sound. What I saw made my blood run cold. Pressed against the glass was a face, but not a human face. It was gray, with large, almond-shaped black eyes that seemed to stare right through me. I blinked, and it was gone. Shaken, I called Agent Smith. "They know what we're doing," I said, my voice trembling. "They're watching us."
Stay calm, Kade, we're on our way.
But as I waited for Smith and his team to arrive, a realization hit me. What if it wasn't just the aliens watching us? What if there were forces here on Earth that didn't want us uncovering the truth? My suspicions were confirmed a week later when one of our researchers, Dr. Emily Chen, disappeared under mysterious circumstances. The official story was that she had taken an unexpected leave of absence. But I knew better. I had seen the fear in her eyes the last time we spoke, heard the tremor in her voice, as she told me she was close to a breakthrough. "We're missing something," I told Smith during one of our late-night strategy sessions. "There's a piece of this puzzle we're not seeing."
What do you mean?
Think about it. These beings have technology far beyond our own. They can travel across vast distances of space, manipulate time and matter. So why the secrecy? Why not just openly conquer us? Smith leaned back in his chair, a thoughtful expression on his face.
You think there's something holding them back?
Exactly. But what? Our answer came in the most unexpected way. It was a cold, clear night in January when it happened. I was driving back from a meeting with a potential witness when my car suddenly died. I coasted to the side of the road, confused. The car was new. There shouldn't have been any problems. As I popped the hood to check the engine, the hair on the back of my neck stood up. I had the distinct feeling I was being watched. Slowly, I turned around. Standing in the middle of the road, illuminated by my headlights, was a figure. But it wasn't one of the gray beings I had seen before. This being was tall, almost human-like in appearance, but with an otherworldly grace. Its skin seemed to shimmer with an inner light, and its eyes were filled with an ancient wisdom that took my breath away. "Who? What are you?" I managed to stammer. The being smiled, at least I think it was a smile.
"We are the Guardians, Cyrus Kade. We have been watching your progress with great interest."
My mind reeled. "Guardians? Progress? I don't understand," I said.
"The beings you have encountered, the ones you call visitors, they are but one species in a vast and complex universe. We are another. Our role is to maintain balance, to ensure that no one species interferes too greatly with the natural development of another."
I listened, transfixed, as the being explained. The visitors were a young, curious species driven by a thirst for knowledge, but their methods were crude, their understanding of the deeper cosmic laws limited.
"We have allowed their study of your kind, but within strict limitations. The abductions, the experiments, these are the extent of what we permit. For now.
For now? I echoed, a sense of dread creeping over me. The being's expression turned grave.
Your species stands at a crossroads, Cyrus Kade. The choices you make in the coming years will determine whether you remain under our protection, or whether we step aside and allow nature to take its course.
I swallowed hard, understanding the implications. What can we do? I asked.
Seek understanding, not conquest. Look to the stars with wonder, not fear. And above all, learn to see beyond the boundaries of your own world.
With those words, the being began to fade from view. Wait, I called out. Will I see you again? The being's voice echoed in my mind as it disappeared completely.
We are always watching, Cyrus Kade, always.
As suddenly as it had died, my car roared back to life. I stood there for a long moment, trying to process what had just happened. When I finally made it back to headquarters, I found the place in an uproar. Apparently, similar encounters had been reported all over the world in the past hour. The game had changed. We weren't just dealing with one alien species anymore, but with a complex cosmic ecosystem we were only beginning to understand. As I sat down to write my report, I couldn't help but feel a mix of excitement and trepidation. We had been given a warning, but also an opportunity. The future of humanity now rested on our ability to heed the Guardian's words and expand our understanding of the universe. But one question still nagged at me. What about Donna Ingersoll and all the others who had been taken? Were they still out there somewhere, subjects in an alien experiment? Or had they become something more, ambassadors to a wider cosmic community? I knew then that my work was far from over. In fact, it was just beginning. The night may be dark and full of unknowns, but I, Cyrus Kade, would continue to shine a light into its depths, no matter where it might lead me. As I typed the final words of my report, I couldn't shake the feeling that somewhere out there, in the vast expanse of space, something was watching me. Waiting. And maybe, just maybe, hoping that we would make the right choices in the days to come. The truth, as they say, is out there, and I was determined to find it, no matter the cost.
Thanks for joining us in the shadows tonight. If you enjoyed these chilling tales, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more spine-tingling stories every week. Have you got a story of your own? Share it in the comments below. We love hearing from you. And remember, the darkness holds many secrets. Are you brave enough to uncover them? Until next time, keep your lights on and your doors locked. Sweet nightmares.